Football season is finally upon us. So I know most of you probably like me, and I'm like a kid in a candy shop right now. It's finally back. Granted, it's only preseason, but it's still nice to see any football right now. So Hall of Fame game just happened last night. So it was good to finally see them out there playing and stuff like that. And it got me thinking about the Hall of Fame and some of the great players, obviously, that have been inducted recently. And another good class going in this year. Kurt Warner and Andre Reed. So it got me thinking about some of the other greats that had been put in. Andre Reed is a phenomenal wide receiver. Played for the Bills, went to 4 Super Bowls. Unfortunately, didn't actually win one. But, phenomenal wide receiver. And there's been some other great wide receivers recently that have just been in. And you think about like Randy Moss, Chris Carter, Tim Brown, Marvin Harrison, Michael Irvin, James Lofton, Don Maynard, Fred Biletnikoff. All these guys, absolutely phenomenal wide receivers. And what do they all have in common? They're all Hall of Famers. What else do they have in common? They are all behind Terrell Owens on every single category for a wide receiver. So how is it Terrell Owens is not in the Hall of Fame? And the biggest reason why, we all know, it's because of his attitude and his character. Because if you saw him on the field, he was a very hardworking wide receiver. 6'3", 225, could run a 4.4, could take the top off the defense. He had good hands. Yeah, he dropped balls here and there, but, what receiver doesn't? But you look at what he did, in a 14-year career. The guy had 15,934 receiving yards. He was just shy of 16,000 in 14 seasons. He had 153 touchdowns. So if you just look at those numbers right there, he averaged at least 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns his entire career. No matter where he went, when he played with San Francisco, the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Bills, Cincinnati, it didn't matter. Everywhere he went, he was extremely productive. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. He was an absolute monster out on the field. So for him not to be in is just ridiculous to me. I mean, it shows that the people that are voting on this are voting using their personal opinions, and they're being very biased, because there is no way this guy should not be in. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, some of the guys that are in statistically aren't even in the top 15. And you got Terrell Owens, who is number 2. There is one wide receiver better than him statistically, Jerry Rice, who is also the guy that is widely considered as the greatest football player of all time. So tell me, how is it that Jerry's, top echelon of guy, and the next guy right behind him isn't even in the Hall of Fame? It's an absolute travesty. The NFL should be ashamed of themselves that they let this happen. This is the second year I think he was eligible, and this guy is a first ballot Hall of Famer that still hasn't amassed enough votes to get in. And it's strictly because of who he was. Yes, he was very, very cocky, and he was brash, and he had zero tact. And, he didn't know when to keep his mouth shut. He would be known for blowing up on the sideline, at quarterbacks or coordinators. But you know what? I've seen a lot of other players do that as well. They're also in the Hall of Fame. Now, the one thing, that being said, that his character, yes, was bad. And we all saw the media circus that he used to invite. The guy never met a camera or microphone he didn't like. But that should not be the reason why he is not in the Hall of Fame, and that is the only thing that's holding him up. He's never had issues with the law. He's never gotten DUIs, failed drug tests, caught using PEDs, beating up significant others. Nothing like that's ever happened. And you have other players in the Hall of Fame that have had all of those issues. I mean, you look at Michael Irvin. He had some drug issues through his career, and he got in first ballot. So the fact that he's not in is an absolute travesty. And it's beyond my comprehension that they would let something like, his personality and the fact that he was cocky and stuff like that negate the fact that he can play ball better than damn near everybody. He was an absolute beast. So something needs to happen. Somebody's got to bring this up to the attention of the NFL offices, and they got to reevaluate. And I'm sure he will wind up getting in, in the next few years, because like they say, time heals all wounds. So maybe the media and the voters will forget about, all of his off the field antics, which literally were just antics. I mean, he was never, like I said, in trouble with the actual law. It was just, he brought a media frenzy everywhere he went. So these guys need to start voting being unbiased and go by, his stats and what he did on the field, and let this man in, because it's ridiculous and laughable that he's not, because the things that they are basing it off of is just absolute garbage. This isn't the Hall of Good Guys or the Hall of Character. This is the Hall of Fame for football players. And that guy was a phenomenal football player. He made the 2000s decade team. So, I mean, every other guy pretty much on that team is in the Hall of Fame except for him. So after seeing Andre Reed get in this year, who is on the back half closer to like number 20 with all his stats, and he's getting in before Terrell Owens, is just absolutely ridiculous. So I think people need to wise up and let this man in, because it's ridiculous that he's not. So thanks for tuning in to Point of Attack. Now that football season's back, I'm going to start doing weekly videos. Leave a comment. Let me know, what you'd like to talk about, what you'd like to hear. And I appreciate all you guys watching. Catch you later.